my name is Prathamesh and welcome to Books and Friends, and today we are going to rank all the books that I have read this year, specifically 14, into following categories. First is everyone can read this. Second is heavy but worth it. When I say heavy, here it signifies that the English or the sentence structure that is used in those books are complex and difficult to understand, or the themes explored in these books are heavy. Third is mood dependent. It literally means that the mood in which you read those books, you could either hate them or like them. Fourth is interesting idea and but weak execution. The title conveys the meaning. And the last is not for me, but it might be for you. Again, as per the title. Each book here is divided into 4 parts. What the book is about, what I liked, what I disliked / could have been better, and at the end, their ranking. So let's get into it. First book is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. It's about a small cafe that lets people travel back in time, but only for few minutes and without changing the present. 4 visitors return to unresolved moments in their lives, hoping for a closure before their coffee gets cold. What I like, the emotional simplicity really works, and the strict rules make every conversation more meaningful, and the stories about regret, love, and closure quietly hits hard. What I disliked or could have been better is that some stories follow a similar pattern and feel repetitive. The writing is simple and the cafe's world could have been explored more, and that's why I put it in interesting idea but weak execution. The next book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. It's about a woman who murders her husband and never speaks again. A therapist becomes obsessed with uncovering the why and what exactly happened at that night. What I like, the pacing is tight and addictive. The slow build, unreliable perspectives, and the way mystery pulls you forward make it hard to put down. What I liked or could have been better is that some twists feel designed to shock more than deepen the story. On the second thought, the psychology doesn't seem as much as layered as it first appears. I am putting it into everyone can read this because it was easy and a simple read. Next up is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. It's about a newly married couple who gets stranded in a remote house during a snowstorm and discovers secret recordings from previous owner, a psychiatrist who vanished mysteriously. What I liked is that it's fast, twisty, and very bingeable. The short chapters and constant reveals make it very easy to finish in one sitting. In fact, I finished it in one sitting. What I disliked or could have been better is that some twists feel a bit over the top and the characters exist more to serve the plot than being fully realistic. I put this book into everyone can read this category because it's not deep literature but highly entertaining. Perfect if you are in a reading slump. Next book is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman, and it's about a woman who grows up imprisoned underground with other women, never knowing why they are held captive or what the outside world looks like. What I liked is that it's haunting, minimal, and deeply unsettling. The loneliness and silence stay with you long after you finish the book. What I disliked or could have been better is that it offers no clear explanation, and which can feel frustrating if you are expecting explanations or closure. I put this book into mood dependent category because when I read the book, I thought it was good, but looking back now, I have mixed feelings. Recursion by Blake Crouch is a sci-fi thriller where memories can rewrite reality, and it follows a cop and neuroscientist caught in collapsing timeline. What I liked is that it's smart, emotional, and fast-paced. The blend of science, love, and regret really works. What I disliked or could have been better is that the concepts can get overwhelming and some sections feel dense if you are not fully locked in. And that's why I put this book into heavy but worth it category. Next up we have The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and it's about a woman who stops eating meat and how that quiet decision slowly unravels her life, her family, and her sense of self. What I liked is that it's unsettling, symbolic, and deeply layered. It says a lot about control, patriarchy, and bodily autonomy. What I disliked or could have been better in this book is that it's abstract and uncomfortable by design, and some sections, especially one POV, for me it felt disconnected. And that's why I put this book into mood dependent category. The Devotion of Suspect X by Kigo Higashino is about a murder where you know who did it from the start. The real mystery lies in how they'll get away with it. What I liked about this book is that it's smart, calm, and precise, and the emotional weight behind the logic at the end made it unforgettable. What I disliked or could have been better is that it's very controlled and quiet, and if you want fast twists, you might feel restrained. I put this book into everyone can read this category because of the mystery and simple writing. Next up we have White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and it's about a lonely dreamer who meets a young woman over 4 nights in St. Petersburg, and he briefly believes that love might finally find him. What I liked is that it's gentle, emotional and painfully honest. It captures loneliness and hope in a very human way. What I disliked or could have been better is that it's slow and introspective. If you prefer fast-paced and plot-heavy themes, this may feel too quiet. But still, I put this into everyone can read this category because it's short. And then there were None by Agatha Christie is about 10 strangers who are invited to a remote island, each hiding a dark past. And one by one, they start dying, and the killer is among them. What I liked is that the tension is constant, the setup is brilliant, the paranoia feels real, and the end is deeply satisfying. What I disliked or could have been better in this book is that some characters feel more like archetypes than people, but that also helps to keep the pace sharp. I put this book into everyone can read this category. Next up we have The Family Experiment by John Maas, and it's about a future where raising real children is expensive. So couples raise AI meta babies inside a metaverse as part of a reality show. What I liked is that the concept is disturbing in the best way possible. It raises sharp questions about parenting, technology, and what family even really means. What I disliked or could have been better in this book is that the aftermath drags a bit after the big reveal, slightly reducing the tension. And that's why I put this book into interesting idea but weak execution category. Next up we have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellis, and it's about 3 estranged sisters who return home a year after their sister's death and are forced to face grief, family wounds and each other. What I liked is that the grief described is raw, messy and deeply human. The dynamics between sisters is painfully real. What I disliked or could have been better is that it can feel heavy and emotionally exhausting at times, especially if you are not in the headspace for it. And that's why I put this book into heavy but worth it category. Next up we have Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, and the book is about a man with low intelligence who undergoes an experiment that turns him into a genius temporarily, and it forces him to see the world and himself differently. What I liked is the emotional impact. Watching Charlie, the character, gain clarity and then lose it is definitely painful and unforgettable. What I disliked or could have been better is that the middle part can feel slow once the science takes over the emotions, and therefore I put this book into heavy but worth it category. Next book is Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast by Oscar Wilde, and it's a sharp, witty collection of Oscar Wilde's thoughts on love, society, art, morality and human hypocrisy. What I liked is the humor and honesty. Every page has lines that make you laugh, pause and rethink something obvious. What I disliked or could have been better is that it's not a full-fledged plot book. It's more of a dip in, dip out kind of read. So I put this book into mood dependent category, but still you can read it, it's a very short. And at last we have The Picture of Dorian Gray, again by Oscar Wilde, and this book is about a young man who stays forever young while his portrait ages in his place, bearing the weight of his sin and moral decay. What I liked is the ideas, vanity, consequence, beauty and corruption are explored in a way that are still relevant today. What I disliked or could have been better is that the writing is heavy and philosophical, which can feel slow or dense at times. And that's why I put this book into heavy but worth it category. So this is our final ranking, and if I have to pick a single book from this list that everyone must read, that will be Flowers for Algernon. And also I have covered all the books that I mentioned today individually, which you can find it on my shorts page. Please subscribe and do let me know what are the different books you have read this year and your thoughts about them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.